Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Guess what? I have already reminded you guys of this twice over the last week or so, but because absolutely no one cares, I'm going to remind you again. Tomorrow, May 6th, 2022, the legend begins. Potential stars will be born. Cups will overflow with excitement. Ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by the non-binary at Disney and ESPN, we proudly present to you opening day in the WNBA. You hear that sound? You hear that silence? That is the sound of the Chicago Sky's WNBA championship parade last October. The championship parade that brought thousands of roaches to the streets of downtown Chicago, along with about 10 people. This week, the WNBA, along with ESPN, they went into overdrive promoting the start of the regular season. If you watch the NBA playoffs on ESPN ABC, I am sure that you have seen the WNBA commercials. Watch this exciting dunk by this muscular woman in the mustache. There are a variety of ways that you can promote something. Earlier this week, the WNBA, they released a 1-minute promo video hyping up the start of the season. It didn't take them 5 seconds before they featured someone wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt with someone else standing with the communist fist. The rest of the video featured highlights of some of the most boring basketball that you'll ever see. Now that is one way to promote something. Another way, you could book star players for interviews, have them make the media rounds. The problem the WNBA faces with that scenario though, they don't have enough players with mainstream name recognition. They don't have enough players who are interesting enough, who relate to the average American. So that won't work. You could use social media, advertise to your followers that your season's about to begin. The problem with this strategy, though, when it comes to the WNBA, they don't have very many social media followers, at least in comparison to other sports leagues. Between Twitter and Instagram, the NBA has almost 100 million followers. The WNBA, less than 2 million. Even with that being the case, the entire league went on a social media blitz this week. But it wasn't to promote the start of the regular season. It wasn't to feature star players. No. There's something much more important going on. The WNBA, they went on a social media blitz to combat the Supreme Court decision to push abortion back to the states. What the hell does abortion have to do with professional basketball? And I use the term professional basketball loosely here. There is nothing professional about the level of basketball in the WNBA. I have seen more entertaining basketball in the streets of Somalia than the bullshit basketball in the WNBA. Of all the sports leagues we have in America, the WNBA is the league that does not represent American values. Casey, how can you say that? These women are beacons of hope and opportunity. They're courageous. They represent diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah, no shit. That ain't what America's about. The WNBA represents socialism. The WNBA represents the redistribution of wealth. Every facet of this league is Socialism 101. What I'm about to explain to you, you're not going to learn this at Woke U. You're not going to hear it in the mainstream media. First, let me explain how the WNBA represents socialism. Then I'll tell you why their stance on this abortion issue is not only bullshit, but it's also hypocrisy. The WNBA stance on the abortion issue proves these women don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They don't understand how our government works. The WNBA, they would not survive under a capitalist system. If it weren't for subsidies provided by the NBA and woke corporations donating millions of dollars to keep this league afloat, the WNBA would cease to exist. Furthermore, WNBA players, they are more than just basketball players. Don't take my word for it. Just listen to them. They will tell you. They're more than basketball players. WNBA players, they're also political activists. The system they promote? Socialism, social justice, whatever the fuck you want to call it. WNBA players, they promote equal pay. That is not sustainable under a capitalist system. This notion that a woman should be paid the same as a man if they're working the same job, that's bullshit. That is a myth. The reason being, you are not paid based on job title. You're paid based on value. You're paid based on your skill set. You're paid based on a variety of reasons, which is why equal pay doesn't work. For example, let's flip the scenario. Let's say the WNBA is making $8 billion every year. They're pulling in, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 million viewers for the playoffs. And the NBA is the league that's losing 10 million every year and can't draw people to a free championship parade. Do you think the women of the WNBA would be advocating for equal pay in that situation? Do you think the WNBA would be subsidizing the men in the NBA to keep their league alive? Fuck no. If that scenario were real, they shouldn't do that. If players in the NBA want to make more money, they should go out and draw ratings. They should earn it. The women of the WNBA, though, they don't want to earn the money that they're demanding. They think they're entitled to it. Entitlement. Socialism 101. Now let's get to the propaganda. Let's get to the propaganda they're pushing with the abortion issue in the Supreme Court. Just in case you're unaware, information was leaked earlier this week that the Supreme Court was planning to overturn Roe versus Wade. Now, the leak itself is controversial on its own. To my knowledge, a Supreme Court decision like this has never been leaked prematurely. I think the reason it was leaked was to entice the unbathables to take to the streets and spread their disgusting odor across the country. Have you seen some of the people outside the Supreme Court protesting? Some of them look like they haven't seen a bar of soap since the doctor washed them after birth. That's what your average social justice warrior looks like. The face of Rachel Levine with the stench of Beetlejuice. The WNBA, along with the mainstream media, they are pushing this Supreme Court decision as an attack on personal freedom, an attack on individual rights, which is completely ironic when you think about it, since their entire premise is based on the collective and not the individual. This decision is not an attack on individual rights. Matter of fact, it's the complete opposite. The Supreme Court, they are pushing abortion back to the states, so each individual state can determine whether abortion will be legal and at what point a woman can have an abortion performed. Guess who will decide the legality of it? The voters of each state. You. But see, that pesky little voting thing, social justice warriors, they can't rely on voters to make decisions. They're too stupid. They're too uneducated. They never vote the way that we want. Social justice warriors want to make the decision for you. The WNBA is attempting to lead the fight against the Supreme Court. Check out this gem from the Atlanta Dream. Now, I agree with the part where women should decide what happens with their own bodies. I agree with that. But it's the next portion where the propaganda gets real. This will harm women in marginalized communities. This is woke speak for it will harm black women. That's rather strange. If abortion happens to be outlawed in Georgia, it will harm the black community? Clearly, the Atlanta Dream are uneducated. Clearly, they don't know the origins of abortion in this country. Since, Margaret Sanger, the woman who led the legalization of abortion in America, Margaret Sanger pushed for abortion to control the black population. She was a racist, like a real racist. She didn't want black people outnumbering white people, so she devised a plan to control the black population. Not only that, she convinced the black community it was in their best interest to support it. Judging by the reaction of players in the WNBA and the fact that per capita, black abortions are 36% higher than white women, I'd say Margaret Sanger's plan worked. Per 1,000 women, 50% of black women have abortions. White women, 14%. You do the math. Now check out this tweet from Natasha. Don't you just love it? Another America-hating WNBA star. Look at this bullshit. We still pay women less than men. Well, in the case of the WNBA, that is 100% correct. Matter of fact, without men, your fucking league wouldn't exist. It's this one comment, though, that caught my attention the most. America is forcing women to raise children we won't help care for. It is not my responsibility to take care of your child. It's not the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of your child. It's your responsibility. But social justice warriors, they don't like the whole personal responsibility thing. They like to fuck up, create a shit sandwich, blame someone else, then leave the mess for the government to clean up. Check this out from Brianna Turner. Ignorance must be bliss. It has got to be nice sometimes to be so uninformed, so uneducated on how government works. Brianna Turner, clearly she missed civics in high school. If I had to guess, it looks to me like she graduated from Woke U. She probably studied under Jamel Hill, majoring in court packing with a minor in unearned pay. Matter of fact, all WNBA players, they are required to take unearned pay with Jamel Hill since none of them earn their paychecks. We used to call that welfare, now we just call it the WNBA. Brianna Turner's assessment is wrong. 9 individuals are not making a generational decision. Millions of voters living in different states will make the decision, not the Supreme Court. If you live in Mississippi, they outlaw abortion. You have the right to fly out to California to get it done. If you don't like the laws in Mississippi, you had the right to move to California. I hear they have a nice rates at the Woke Motel located under the Santa Monica Pier. Like I've told you before, I don't personally care about abortion. If a woman wants to have an abortion, fuck, I don't care. Go for it. Your decision has no effect on me. But abortion is just the latest issue that they are using to push the overall agenda. They don't want you to have the ability to make your own decisions. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want all decisions made at the federal level by useless dumb fuck politicians who they select. Why do you think they push hard for voting rights? It's not about voting rights. It's about the right voters. Voters they know will continue to elect them. When they lose, they throw tantrums. It's rigged. It's unfair. We should get rid of the electoral system. But anyway, I got to get out of here. I've got somewhere to be this afternoon. Let me know what you think. The WNBA, once again, on the wrong side of an issue. Sound off on the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.